What's going on, everybody? The doctor has returned, and if you're probably here by the title, you also saw the singular person that all I can think about is her throughout this entire two-episode series. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll get into it in just a moment. Moment. The show at the moment is Women at Work. Two episodes. At least two episodes that are known of. I don't know if there's like an original source material that's based on, but currently there is two episodes and it was made. And the second episode, I'm pretty sure, was made in 2005, so I don't expect there to be another episode anytime soon. This was made by the company Media Blasters, and they kind of specialize in older stuff that actually comes out really well done. So, I'm not sure how many categories the first one had, but I knew it was above the second one. The second one itself had 9 categories, so I'm guessing within 9 and 14 categories, or it's kind of a median for each one. Now, that being said, the plot of the entire series itself is a guy has a girlfriend and the girlfriend ends up dumping him because she thinks, quote, he's a wimp and also kind of a loser. So, after dumping him, he decides to go for a walk and then sees a whole bunch of girls fawning over guys with huge muscles. He starts walking around, starts thinking like, I need to get stronger. So, he finds a flyer on the ground that offers good pay and a lot of physical labor so he can eventually bulk up. Now, he decides to go and apply for the job, in which case he applies for the job. But the woman there giving it, but this is a guy and a girl in a show, in a HentAi, so I would suggest they would hook up. And they did. That was very fast. Alright. Now that they end up getting together. They finish. He's like, oh, you did so well. It's kind of weird if he didn't do well. Like, that would have been the end of the whole thing. That would have been funny as hell to watch. The entire thing, but he finishes in like 12 seconds and then he doesn't get the job and he falls into like a heroin addiction. That would have been a totally different turn, and I want to see that version. He gets the job, and then they said they can start today, and then this assistant comes in and like somehow slips and lands upside down on the guy, and then starts finishing him off with her mouth. It's weird. But then they immediately go past that. They then get put into the area where all the workers are, where they start introducing everybody. There's a character who's kind of the princess, who's really wealthy, but for some reason still works a manual labor job at a construction site. She has all like work clothes that are like studded out with a whole bunch of different. It's weird. I don't think that one was well thought out, but it's there. There's a character that's like androgynous. You don't know if they're male or female, but based on the facial structure, you're like, oh, that's a girl immediately. It's very simple. Then there's the boss of the whole thing, who is a girl who is also insanely buff and huge. And that's the character that's on every single screenshot for these two episodes, and it's very noticeable. Now, that being said, they also have the assistant who is really ditzy and kind of is prone to like slipping and somehow ending up in a sexual position. Now, what happens is he goes to work, and after a little bit, they find out, like, hey, I won't be able to go and help out with this special job. The special job ends up, they're like, all right, we're going to send the new guy. And the new guy's like, I don't want to go. He's like, well, you'd be good at it, so go ahead. The new guy goes over, finds out there's an artist trying to sleep, but due to her complaining enough, they had to send over a representative to help her sleep because of all the things going on outside during the day. And this is just a clever way of saying, hey, we're going to make you two hook up, and it leads to a different category that I'm not going to say because I have no idea why the fuck I don't want to, because I'm tired. Now, that being said, they then switch over to the showers, where the guy goes in and is like, oh, it's been a long day, I'm going to go take a shower, walks in, and then finds the really buff boss of the character, just sitting there or just standing in the shower naked, staring directly at him, and then it fades to black. The next episode then goes over to the immediate proceedings. Like, why are you in here? I thought this was a guy's shower. He's like, there's guys and girls. The main guy's like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, you have an erection. And then exactly what you think happens. The next part is the guy then, like, he tries to leave that area, but then he, like, runs into the androgynous character who, like, barely opens up her towel. And then you see her boobs for, like, a half a second. Then she's like, oh, you know my secret. And the guy's like, what fucking secret? Because apparently he didn't see anything. She then sets him down on a massage chair, and then she just kind of goes to town on him using her mouth. And the guy's still sitting there the entire time, like, isn't this a dude? And the girl stands up and is like, all right, keep whatever you saw to yourself. And the guy's like, I have no idea what the fuck I saw. Oh, and then walks away, and he's like, I'm conflicted about everything that just happened because I'm pretty sure that was a dude. And then it goes over to. Then the assistant comes in and is like, oh, is someone ready to play? And then he quickly gets up and runs out of there. He's like, nope, I've had a lot of this all day. I'm going home. Then goes home, comes back to work, and he finds the androgynous character and him. There's a big pile of scrap that needs to be torn up. So they get into a competition. Who can clear the most? The loser has to clean the showers. And they're like, all right. So he and the androgynous character go to clean it up. The main character loses, and he goes to get the cleaning supplies later, and he runs into the assistant, who is also trying to look for something. They're in a small confined space with each other. You can guess what happens. Now they end up hooking up. They move on to the next episode. They move on to the next scene where he's cleaning up the area, and then he looks over to the side. He's like, "What's that weird, really special door over here on the showers?" Opens it up, and then it's a private bathroom for the princess character that's there. They're like, "Close the door. You're getting all the steam out." Of which he does not close the door. I noticed that, and it's very irritating if you're just looking at it like, dude, she told you to close the door. Don't be a dick. Door's still open. Why you do this? Very not cool. Now then, it leads to like, oh, are you using just normal condoms? Here's this one. And then pulls out one with like her brand on it. It's like, it's specially made, super thin. You put it on, it has my favorite perfume on it, and it smells amazing. It makes me feel awesome. Then they end up hooking up, and they move on to and then the show just cuts to the next scene where the guy's sitting there in like either the beginning of the day or the end of the day, where he's on top of like a building just eating his lunch and like thinking like, what the fuck is going on up here? What the fuck is going on in this construction site? He's like, maybe I should quit. This seems like a weird ass place to be at. Then the buff manager comes up and says like, hey, and then gives him like a speech about like why you should say like the answers are out there. It's like, okay. And then I assume he stays. And then the whole thing cuts off. Now, this might be a little bit of a shorter review, mostly because I'm weirdly tired right now. It's not that late for me, but I'm tired. Now, the animation for this, it's done in an old style, even though it did come during an older time. Like, I say old, like it came a while ago, but it was like 15 years ago. So it might be a little dated right now. Now the animation is decent with some actual shining moments. Like if you look at it, you'll see like spots that have like dynamic animations that look really good. But it's all done in like an older style, so it has that charm to it. So I'd personally give it a 7 out of 10 when it comes to the animation department. The characters are fun and there's little quirks in them. There's the little quirks in them that kind of like give them their own little singular thing that they're going for, and they don't really go outside of that. They use what they have, and they don't exactly like try anything different with it. They're kind of like, all right, here's a one-note character. We're going to use him for a single thing, and we're not really going to focus on it. They can show up later, but they're not really going to be a big thing. And I appreciate the honesty in that. So I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10 as well. Now, finally, the content itself. Between the two episodes, I'm pretty sure there's like 8 scenes altogether. And they're really well done scenes. They have like enough movement in them to make it lively. All the characters in the shows are very like distinct. You'll know one character from the next. And the actual acts themselves are decent length. They're not overly drawn out with like extra movements that are just repeated a lot. And they're not like shortened to like, well, what was the point in that? They're decently set out and they have a good amount of variety, even if that variety itself is relatively vanilla. That being said, I got a little bit of a soft spot for vanilla. Not to say I'm not partial to anything that's in the crazier spectrum. I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing with, like, oh, what type of animals do you like to be around? And it's just a golden retriever. Like, it's just a basic golden retriever. It's not a big deal when it comes to dogs, but it's amazing, and I love the little guy. So, personally, 9 out of 10. Really solid. Just a few things that I didn't find all that great that drop it from that, like, rank of 10 to a solid 9. Overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10 total, and I would recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to check it out. It's a decent 2 episode series that is probably worth your time if you're looking for something related to that. Now, if you don't mind, I have some things to do, some people to fight, and some crusading to do. And for that one guy who comments on all my videos, thank you very much. I appreciate the shit out of you. Oh, and to that bot that continuously types wannabe friends, I would like to say, I hope you fucking die. Now, have a nice day, wash your hands, and make sure everybody's clean, or else I'll come and break whatever you don't clean. Have a nice day. I've been the doctor, and we can have a nice day later. I've said nice day a lot, but we're not going to focus on that. Bye, guys.